Hello. Okay, so I want to talk today about shoulds. How what we should do for our health can really get in the way of actually creating a life that feels healing and sustainable. So this idea of shoulds, it has been coming up a lot recently with clients, with people I've been speaking to, and it makes sense why we can get to this place of what I should be doing. So once we get to the place where maybe we've been diagnosed with a chronic health issue, maybe we just don't feel great, but we get to a place where we have realized that we have some influence over how we feel. Right? That we can change how we sleep, what we do for stress management. We can decide what we eat, and all of these different things can influence how we feel, our health and our wellness, no matter where we're at on our journey. What can happen is that once we start to understand this, we want to keep seeking this information because obviously we want to feel the best that we can. So we might listen to a lot of podcasts. We might subscribe to someone whose blog we love. We might look on the internet and find people on Instagram and start to gather this information about what we should be doing for our health. So it can start out really empowering and really great. What I see a lot of times is that as we're going along in this, we start to gather a lot of different rules or guidelines or pieces of information, because one person might say, if you have Hashimoto's, you should eat in this way. Another person might say, if you have Hashimoto's, you should take this supplement. This is what worked for me, right? So we start to absorb all this information. And then we get to a place where it feels like we should be doing these certain things for our health. So if you've ever had, just check right now an experience of if you've ever said, oh, I don't, but I should be doing that for my health. I should be doing this for my health. I should be doing that. That can be great because it can be inspiration. We can have something that we want to be doing for our health, whether it's sleeping better or getting in more vegetables or things like that. But it can also start to take us away from our own internal knowing. And I've seen this happen a lot recently. And it makes sense, like we were talking about, it makes sense that this would happen because we have so many different ideas swirling around us. So when I was working with a client recently, she was saying, I should support my body's detoxification pathways and support my stress management by taking an Epsom salt bath. I know I need to be doing that. I should be doing that. So she started taking Epsom salt baths, and which are a great intervention, right? But she was feeling like her body didn't tolerate heat really well. So she would get in the tub and she'd have to force herself to be in there, and it didn't really feel very good for her at the moment. And she would be in there for about 10 minutes and she'd be like, when can I get out? I'm ready to be done with this. This doesn't feel great for me. And it actually was stressing her out a little bit more. But she was forcing herself to do this a few times a week because she should. She should because, and we're going to go into these questions you can ask yourself of why. But she should be doing Epsom salt baths because they're a healthy thing to do and they help support body's detoxification and help with relaxation. But it wasn't actually true for her. So when we actually took a step back and said, okay, but is this actually serving you? This one intervention, the answer was no, it's really not. And from there, we were able to say what actually might help you achieve that. In terms of aiding in the body's natural detoxification process, maybe it really was just getting the body moving after sitting for a really long period of time. Maybe it's actually making sure that you have adequate hydration. Those were the things that she actually really needed when she checked in with her body. So what I want you to do is ask yourself these questions when you get this idea of I should be doing that. And also let me know if you're here and listening, what are some of the shoulds that have come up for you? I should do that. Let me know because I want to hear. So put it in the chat. But asking yourself the question, says who? Or where did that come from? When a thought comes up in your head, I should wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning in order to work out. Says who? Who told you that? And a lot of times the answer is the internet, or is someone I followed somewhere, or sometimes it could be a practitioner, sometimes it could be a friend, whatever. But first just ask yourself, says who, and where did that come from? And then I want you to ask yourself, is that true for me? So for the example of waking up at 5 a.m. to do a workout, sure, in theory, that's a health promoting thing to do, right? And maybe you feel like you should be someone who wakes up at 5 a.m. You should work out for an hour in the morning. But when you actually think about it, says who and where did that come from? If it didn't actually come from you and what's going to serve your body, let's rethink it. So is that true for me? For me, if I were to wake up at 5 a.m. and do a really intense workout, I'd feel terrible. That's not right for me. So I don't think I should be doing that. But I can actually say what would be more supportive for me. Actually, maybe just 15 minutes of some gentle yoga. My body's going to respond a lot better to that. Great. So I want you to ask those questions. And from time to time, it can be really helpful to do a little inventory of all the shoulds that are coming up in our head around health. Seeing what are some of the rules or guidelines that we have picked up, because oftentimes we pick up a number of them and we don't even know, because information comes at us so quickly these days, and it can lead us to feeling really guilty if we think we should be eating in a certain way, we should be moving in a certain way, we should have a certain lifestyle, and we don't. Then we can feel frustrated. We can feel like, oh, I'm not doing everything I can on a daily basis to support my health. This doesn't feel good. Or we can beat ourselves up around it a little, when really the truth is that information came from someone who is not us, and that should is getting in the way of what's actually true for our own body. So again, those questions that you ask is just look, see if there's any beliefs or phrases coming up around what you should or shouldn't be doing, and then say, says who or where did that come from? And whatever answer you get there is great. And then ask, is that true for me? Or is there a way that I could take this and make it actually suit my needs better? Like we talked about with the Epsom salt bath, right? An example of putting yourself through something that you should be doing, but actually wasn't really serving you. So getting rid of that and putting in what is actually going to serve you here, and releasing some of these shoulds. Like I talked about, sometimes it's like we have to do a little bit of weeding of some of the health knowledge or beliefs or rules or things that we've followed over time. So taking inventory of some of those as well, and you can think of it as doing a little bit of weeding. Okay, I used to operate under the condition that I avoided, X food, but now my body feels different. And so the information that I have about myself now is that I eat this food, right? We have to shift and change as we move along. So I just wanted to introduce this around shoulds. Let me know your experience with this. I've been seeing it come up a lot lately. So that's always my cue that it is something that we are all dealing with and struggling with. And if we can just ask those questions to get more clarity, to come back into our own sovereignty and our own wisdom in our body, that helps to reduce a lot of overwhelm, to feel more confident that the things you are doing on a daily basis to support your health are indeed supportive for you and your unique body, and not just someone who has your same autoimmune condition or chronic health condition or symptom or whatever it is. So if you need more support with this, I am here to help. This is what I love to do. I have created my Live Well online program that specifically helps to translate this knowledge into action, to give information in a really, succinct and easy to understand way, but to be able to have more tools and practices and processes in order to really understand what works for you versus what you should be doing. Because there's a lot of information out there about what we should be doing for our health, but a huge part of the process that gets lost, and something I'm really passionate about, is helping you figure out what actually works best for you. So there's a number of different tools, from food and symptom journaling, from specific inquiry into different questions, learning how to actually assess these things in your body, and also having a framework and a structure to be able to implement and track these things to see how they are working in your body and in your life is hugely important. So if you're interested, the Live Well online program is purely online program. It's completely self-paced. It's 12 modules. of supportive information that take you through the pillars of autoimmunity and chronic illness, but also give you the tools, like I'm talking about here, to figure out what's actually going to be true for you. So I want you to be able to take in this information, but more importantly, to filter it through your own guidance system to get rid of the overwhelm and to be able to figure out not what should you be doing, but what works for you, so you can really feel like you're doing everything you can on a daily basis to support your body and support your health in a way that feels good for you. So you can head to the link in my bio and you can learn more about the Live Well program there. It's still there for a discounted rate right now for the next couple weeks. So let me know if you have any questions about it. It's really supportive for you, so you can do it in your own time, but you have all the guides and tools to be able to keep you on track. So you're able to listen to the modules and work through some of the workbooks and pieces in your own time. But you have the structure too, so we can flow a little bit in it. So you can learn more and enroll at the link in my bio. I also have my 3 Pillars of Autoimmune Health Masterclass too, which is another way for you to go a little bit deeper, learn more, and to even get a little sneak peek into the first module of the online program if you want to learn more. So that is at the link in my bio too. You can sign up, you get instant access, and we dive deeper into these pillars that we go through in the program as well. So I hope that is helpful. These shoulds, man, they can really get us. They can really trip us up. And I want you to just pause and take a second and take an inventory of this. That is all your work for today, is just take an inventory of where you're at. Know that you are doing great, that you're exactly where you're meant to be on this journey. And sometimes it's even just, narrowing down to like, what's true for your body today. Sometimes it's like 1 to 3 non-negotiables. I talk about, if you're my client and you're listening to this, I talk about non-negotiables a lot. What are the things that support you on a daily basis to feel your best? As simple as that, right? So for my client who is wanting to take the Epsom salt baths to support in detox and relaxation, clearly she's needing relaxation and to support the body's, detox pathways. So like I said, maybe choosing something like some gentle movement, doing a walk outside, doing some, twists, making sure she's hydrated, finding a different way to manage stress. Maybe it's breathing that's actually going to support her body is the key. So you can see there, I just want to give you a couple of these examples because it makes a really big difference. We go from living in a place of where we're worried about what we should be doing and why we're not doing enough, and are we failing, and are we going to get worse because we're not doing what everyone on the internet is telling us to do, and we don't have this super long healthcare routine, and it can be so overwhelming. And I want to just encourage you to drop that today and just spend a little bit of time tuning into what's true for you. So I hope that is helpful. I hope that feels empowering. If you have any questions about this topic of shoulds, or about the Live Well online program or the masterclass, send me a message. I'm super happy to help, and have a great rest of your day.